I really wanted to love the JBL Tour One M3, right? It's got this unique transmitter, it's got great comfort, excellent call performance, and basically all the extras you could ever want.
I feel like there's a but coming.
But there's one aspect that no one's really talking about that I think really let these wonderful headphones down.
Namaste, we're DHRME. Dope headphones really mean everything.
Now we'll compare these to the Sony WH-1000 XM6 at the end, but let's start with focusing on these and how these feel on your head, on your ears. So what was your experience with the comfort?
Yeah, so you've used them obviously longer than I have, but it was funny to see that you said these are very similar. No, these are actually better than the QC Ultras.
I know.
That hit me hard.
That breaks his heart.
Yeah.
So
Because I've been a long-term
user
and believer in the comfort of the quiet comfort.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to beat that comfort level for me then. Everyone's ears are different. But I've got to say, they've changed some stuff here.
Yeah.
Because compared to the previous model, the M2, they've made the cups spaciouser.
More space.
That one. And the headband is still comfortable. And you can adjust it easily with the ratchet system. I love ratchets on headbands.
Yeah, nice.
I want to keep both levels the same. But yeah, there's that.
Lighter.
It's overall lighter, yeah.
This nice cushion on the headband. So overall, medium clamp, I would say, light to medium clamping force. However, first impressions can be deceiving. So if you get these out of the box, wear them, you're going to think I'm wearing a cloud. But after like 2 or 3 hours, you can then start feeling, okay, you do feel it around your ear and stuff like that. So it is still super comfortable.
Yeah.
As Fakman on this channel.
I am overwhelmed by the amount of options you get if you're into calls. But before we get into that, here are a couple of samples. Listen to how they perform.
So this is the JBL Tour One M3 in quiet conditions, kind of like an office space with an air conditioning running, typical place where you would make calls at work or at home. See how that sounds? Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3. Now quieter. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3. Let's go outside. JBL Tour One M3 in noisy conditions with cars passing by. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll speak a bit quietly. There's also a bit of breeze that's picked up. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, so now we have the JBL Tour One M3 in breezy conditions. This is what the wind speed looks like. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Damn.
Yeah.
They held their own in the wind, that's for sure. These guys, I mean, you were testing them in like...
5-6 meters per second.
Yeah.
So just to give you a context, like 4 is what we consider heavy wind.
That's like the
if things perform at 4 meters per second, they're good. These were going at 5, they're going at 6. Even when I was talking quietly.
Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
So excellent for wind. For noise, still good, decent, definitely usable. You do see it now and then cutting out in the voice, and that's probably got to do with the harsh noise reduction going on those, cutting out your voice at times. And then for the Fakman, in terms of controls, you got them all. You got volume, answer, hang up, mute,
Change how your voice sounds, change how their voice sounds. And you can make yourself sound, neutral and powerful if you want to.
You can do that? Like you can EQ your own voice?
Yeah, it can sound powerful, man, for like if you're...
Wow, for the sales calls, man. Like, closing them deals. Yeah, I don't know if that works. I'm not a salesman.
No, you're not a salesman, but JBL is selling this to you with a unique selling proposition.
USP, okay.
Which is this little thing, and that is called the transmitter, which doesn't seem to be coming on right now. And we have the JBL Tour Pro 3, which we reviewed, and the Pro 2 as well before them. And
Yeah.
in those products, I thought it makes sense. You have a case anyway for wireless earbuds, so why not slap something smart onto the case? So it made sense to me.
Not to me when it first came out. I was like, why? Just open up your app. You have it anyway. It's connected to your phone. What's the big deal? What is this?
So what is the big deal then?
Yeah, so actually then when I started using it, I was like, hey, okay, it makes the case a bit bulkier, but having this on your table, because you're going to have it anyway, is much easier to get into this and change things that you want than having to pull up your phone and open the app.
Yeah.
So that's quite nice, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah. And this one also acts as an audio transmitter.
Yeah, we're not talking about this guy.
We're not talking about this guy.
It's the same thing.
That one also does it.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, like, say you're not connected to your phone,
Yeah.
you're still connected to this.
Yes.
So even before you pair to your phone, you are going to be, able to change stuff here. So that's one good thing. Second thing, JBL has made this an Auracast transmitter, which means this is basically a radio where you can broadcast sounds out. So, and if you have headphones from, say, Sony, for example, you can still listen to what's coming out of this because it's an Auracast transmission. And a whole family can watch a movie together on a plane, for example, or listen to a song or a podcast, whatever it is. So that's fantastic, I think. It can do all the other things that can also do. You can change EQ, change sound, change noise cancelling. Connected devices. And if you plug this into a legacy device, you can still stream audio from that to your fancy new noise cancelling
suppose
headphones.
You're traveling with noise cancelling headphones. It's a very big use case for a lot of people, and you're in a flight with the onboard entertainment system and you want that audio to go to your headphones, this thing is going to come in handy as well.
So very, very useful. It's tiny. It can fit into your jeans coin pocket. I like that. It's kind of not too thick. Couple of downsides on this though. One thing is the touchscreen is a little bit finicky. It's not perfect. It's obviously not going to have the highest quality AMOLED screen, though it would be 500 euros just for this thing. Secondly, it's one more thing.
Yeah.
It is one more thing to store. So don't get lost. One more thing to charge because it's got a battery in it. It's one more thing to update the firmware of.
Yes.
And if I were to offer some unsolicited advice to JBL, it would be find a way to integrate something like this onto the headphone itself that sticks on magnetically, and does not affect the usability and the comfort. That's a small little assignment I'm giving you. Please work on it. But otherwise, it's a nice feature, and nothing else on the market right now gives you this.
That's right.
In a sea of headphones that are kind of merging into this one headphone, this is unique.
It's nice to see that JBL is experimenting and trying out these different things, going hard on Auracast, going hard on this, app in a small display in this transmitter case. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, cables.
So if you want to use this as a transmitter, you are going to need cables. So you can connect this in two ways to an old device, either via USB-C. So you can connect this to the other device with USB-C and stream from this, like use your headphones. Or JBL also gives you a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter. So if you have a really old device which doesn't even have a digital port, you can still use that to listen to these, which is pretty cool.
Okay. And all of those cables are included in the box?
All of them in the box. I like this case a lot. It's kind of a nice shape, a nice color.
Guitar pick.
A guitar pick. And inside it has Velcro, which you can kind of pull up. And there's a pocket inside this pocket where this guy goes in.
Wow.
So they're trying to help you, not lose it. And
not just that, right? It feels like some kind of weather sealing around the zipper, which is nice. There's a lanyard and there's a carabiner clip as well. So it feels like it's very much made for on the go.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just a case you throw into your cupboard at home and forget about it.
So it's a nice case, nice cables.
You get them in 3 colors.
Yeah.
And the color of the case matches the color of the headphones.
Yeah.
Also a nice touch. The controlling situation.
2 buttons, a volume rocker, and a touch surface. So kind of like Sony in that sense. It's a hybrid touch and button system.
And also slider kind of thing.
Yeah, that's one thing it beats the Sony out on, because the slider is a volume plus Bluetooth slider, which we have seen on the Bars & Wilkins, on the Bose. Works well. Don't mess with it. Bose messed with it in QC Ultra. They're the ones who used to always have it, and they messed with it. So I'm happy that they have this.
For sure.
Easy to go into pairing mode. Speaking of pairing mode, you can go into it via this, via the app,
Oh, yeah.
via this transmitter. So
Many ways.
multiple ways to get into pairing mode. That's nice.
And this pull connect.
And this pull connection, so you can pull from a previously connected device. Obviously, it has multi-point, which means you can stay connected to two devices at once. You can see a list of devices
In the app,
on the transmitter.
Yeah, but coming back to the controls, so indeed an ANC button, pairing button, the volume, and touch on the right ear cup. Touch is for play, pause, and track control. So double tap is next track, triple tap is previous. Touch is not customizable in any way. You can turn them all off if you like, which I kind of would see people doing because the touch is quite sensitive sometimes. I was like putting them on and they were playing audio automatically.
Yeah, what I don't like about the touch is, first of all, it's a bit sensitive.
Yeah.
But also it's like, it's not very good.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, it's got some latency. You touch it, it takes half a second to respond.
Correct.
Sometimes it triggers automatically. And play pause is a single touch, which means you can trigger it a lot by accident.
I hate that. I hate when you add touch and the touch has track control and you add a single tap. Like, don't do that. If you put single, make it volume or something.
Yeah,
something that doesn't matter.
Let us change it.
Let's change it. Yeah, even better.
Bit of a mixed bag. Still not the thing we were talking about at the beginning of this video. Let's go to sound, because JBL, they own Harman. The Harman curve we talk about is, these are the guys who own that company. This company owns that, whatever it is.
40 millimeter.
40 millimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So decent size. Sound is very restrained out of the box. It was surprisingly restrained, but you can tweak it quite a bit. There's a lot of EQ presets. Even the presets are good on this. There's 10-band EQ. They're a bit confused out of the box, but they sound good, and they can sound good.
Okay.
You get LDAC, and you get LE audio. You get audio over USB Type-C.
Oh, yeah.
So there's an inbuilt DAC. You get an audio jack, but you have to use the USB-C termination on the headphone side. Auracast, we talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like giving you everything. And it's a pretty punchy, weighty bass that you're getting. It's like very, very defined and pretty loud. These are like, it can go very, very loud.
Stuff like personalized sound.
Personify, nice name. Yeah.
Nice one. Spatial audio.
Yeah.
I had to get that.
Spatial audio.
Spatial audio. Low volume dynamic EQ. I think you were explaining that earlier today.
Yeah, it's basically, we as humans perceive sound differently at different volume levels. So this kind of adjusts the curve to compensate for that, for the equal loudness curve, they call it.
Yeah.
However, all those three things or LDAC, you got to choose.
Oh.
So you cannot have LDAC and have those three fancy features.
What?
I don't know what's going on there, but yeah.
Okay. And if you just want to peace out, you got relaxing sounds as well, and you can, like, what is it? Layer them up, so you can have rain and, I don't know,
fire,
cafe sounds or something, or fire. Yeah. Okay, and then you've got silent now as well, which is basically makes like this kind of silent cocoon, turns off all the Bluetooth radios and all of that, and it's just ANC, nice and quiet.
It's a really nice feature, actually. It's
put a timer on it.
Yeah, you can do that as well.
Yeah. Wear sensors there, fast charge. You got Google Fast Pair, and it's Zoom certified. So
yeah, who's using Zoom? But
who is using Zoom?
Leave a comment if you're using Zoom. All right, so we've been pretty much gung ho praising these beautiful headphones.
No, it's not all.
It's coming. It's coming. The butt is coming. Build and design. Oh my God. So this is the price range of premium headphones.
$400 in the setting that you see here. Oh God. Yeah, there's some noticeable, audible, feelable
creakage.
Disappointing creakage, yes. Not something not something you would expect at this price point, right?
No.
This is more like, I don't know, 100.
I remember like Sony WH-1000 XM6 had creakage and we were complaining about it. And that was like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
How is this not a solved thing yet for flagship headphones from a company like JBL? But it is what it is.
Yeah, but foldable is not an excuse. Lightweight is not an excuse, because we see all that with the Bose products as well.
Yeah.
And they're lightweight, foldable, and not creaky.
Not creaky, yeah.
Disappointing.
But like you said, they are foldable. So they go into a pretty small case footprint. And the battery life, 40 hours with ANC on.
Yeah, for premium headphones, it's one of the best.
Doing pretty good.
I think Sennheiser is 50 and Yeah, everything else around 30.
30,
So,
yeah. Yeah. Let's not talk about AirPods Max.
no, no.
Okay.
And how do I look, man? Let's tell me how I look right now. How do I look now?
Nah. No,
No?
yeah,
Tier D?
it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Have I gone up a tier?
Tier C.
Yeah, tier C.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one word that summarizes this is understated.
Yeah.
It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look ugly. It feels maybe
Yeah.
not so confidence inducing, but it doesn't have that super premium vibe to it.
No. I like the color. I really like this midnight blue color.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it looks very shiny right now because we have a studio light, of course, but it's not that shiny in real life.
No. Yeah, no. So, and the case matches it and color is nice and all of that. But if you didn't know that these were the flagship and these were $400, you probably wouldn't have guessed that it's a flagship pair because it doesn't look the part. So it's quite understated, but I guess it's all about what's on the inside that matters with these headphones. So, yeah.
And what's on the inside is one thing we haven't talked about, if you noticed.
Yep. Noise
Noise cancelling.
and transparency.
Yeah.
You get a ton of customization again for noise cancelling and transparency. This is the theme, guys, for JBL. So you go into ANC, you get a slider, you've got adaptive ANC, you've got this auto compensation as well. And so adaptive is clearly adapt. So it's adapting based on how much ambient noise there is. It'll adjust the strength for you. You have the slider to adjust the strength yourself manually if you like. And if the headphones are not correctly around your ears or you're wearing something where it's not sealed up properly, the auto compensation tries to do something there. Doesn't do a whole lot, to be honest, but it's there if you want to. Yeah.
And we are not going to talk about wind because we're in a quiet studio. So I'll go to this guy who's in the wind.
Hey, so I'm using the JBL Tour One M3 and I've been cycling for the past 30 minutes or so. I want to give you a feel on how it feels outside. I am noticing that when you listen to music or podcasts using the JBL Tour One MC, the wind noise isn't totally absent. There is no separate wind noise reduction mode either. So you have to kind of do the adaptive ANC or choose a noise cancelling strength. The transparency is terrible in wind. All the wind is coming straight in, and noise cancelling is possible. So I could listen to my podcast all the way here, but it was not necessarily the quietest experience I've had. Something to keep in mind if you're cycling a lot in the wind. Louis?
There is no wind noise reduction mode, unfortunately. So you clearly heard it, like you said, in transparency mode. You don't hear it in noise cancelling, which is pretty standard for all headphones. But yeah, would have liked to see one for wind, especially in the country that we're living in. But cool, that's not there. So how did the ANC perform? Disappointingly, very similar to the previous model.
Yeah.
Which was in tier A. So this one stays in tier A for noise cancelling.
Yeah.
And so I would say that, for example, the XM6 clearly cuts out a noticeable amount of the low end and the voices. So these guys are tier S, tier A.
And we did say there's one thing which nobody else is talking about on the noise cancelling of this. The tier A, the tier S, what Kevin said, but it is so sensitive to the seating on your head. I have not come across any other headphone that's so sensitive. So this morning, like in the video, I had glasses on, I had a cap on, and I was on the bike. It was like there was no noise cancelling at all. I was trying to adjust it, clamp it down. But if it is not perfect, you can expect, I think, a significant reduction in ANC or transparency, which is why on the internet, you're going to see a lot of opinions about this. Like, this is the best noise cancelling I've ever seen, to this is like very ordinary noise cancelling. That's because if you get it in the perfect position, just right, don't move, sit tight, don't breathe till you blew, these might do very well.
And you're talking about, cycling and a cap and glasses. I just took a sip from my teacup and I already felt it. Really? And then I was like, wait, what? And I know a lot of headphones will have that, but not as much as what we've noticed on the JBL.
Like Sony doesn't have that much at all.
No. So, yeah.
And that's the one thing I think which is a downside for this, but the transparency was decent.
Yes. The transparency is definitely decent. Yes. Both of these tier S, so the highest tier that we have, but within that tier, we do see some difference. And this one's more on the higher end of that tier. This one's on the lower end. So why is JBL on the lower end? It's not because I didn't like it. I enjoyed being in transparency mode with the JBLs on. I had them on, I was talking to you, I was just going about my business, and it was fine. There was no occlusion, no noticeable white noise. It was just pleasant, right? I don't know if it was pleasant for you, me talking to you with headphones on.
It's a bit rude, but fine.
But yeah, get used to it.
Yeah.
We run a headphone channel. Okay. The way we also test transparency here on the channel is to compare how the headphones are in transparency mode versus them off your head. Because you want it to replicate your natural surroundings as much as possible. That it does not do because it scoops out the low end.
Yeah.
It does what the Sony does, but when you set the focus on voice mode or focus voice, what is it?
Yeah.
Voice focus, whatever mode.
This thing on screen.
Yeah. That's what it's doing by default, and they have no way of turning that off or customizing it.
So I would say in general, this is a pretty good mode to use, right? Like, I think it's nice to, if you're in a car or a bus or whatever, you can have a conversation with the other person.
Yeah.
Where it's cutting down the engine sound, but not the sound of their voice.
Yeah.
But give us the choice, like Sony has, right? They're like saying this is the only way we do transparency.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
And maybe, you know, for 80% of the cases, that's the way people use it, is mostly for talking to people. And so they've done that for you. But yeah, why not give the choice?
Let's go to buy.
Or not to buy. So why would you buy them? Well, like we've said, that unique transmitter, super unique. So again, you have to judge for yourself whether this makes sense for you. It can do a lot and it can be very useful, but it needs to make sense for you.
Yeah.
And for the rest, these are solid across the board.
Yeah.
You know, so they've definitely not pulled any punches in any of the in any of the aspects
Except two.
except two.
Build, we talked about, and the ANC sensitivity we talked about.
Yeah.
Let's compare them to the XM6.
Yeah. So what do you get with the XM6 that's actually better than the JBL? So you're getting better controls. The touch is more responsive. There's less latency. The buttons are also much more tactile.
Yeah.
Because there's only two buttons. One of them is a round dimple, so it's super clear cut.
Yeah.
And you have more customization as well on the controls. The case, a nice magnetic clasp on the case means you're getting to your headphones quicker, and you're getting the headphones back into the case quicker as well. So that's definitely an upside of the Sony.
Yeah.
Voice control?
Yeah.
So
It's
you
good. You can issue voice commands, ask it to stop ANC, etc. It's a unique niche feature, but nice to have.
All right, I've been going back and forth between these two headphones, and it's really hard to pick a winner, but I have a winner. For me, the winner is clearly the Sony WH-1000 XM6. Actually, I'll take one word back, the word clearly. That the Sony has a little bit more bass presence in the default sound signature, but I find the Sony's default tuning more pleasant, and especially in the highs, I'm finding the JBL sounds a bit sharp to me, but yeah, it also is missing some frequency sometimes, whereas the Sony sounds much more consistent after listening to it for a period of time. What I'm also finding is that the Sony is quite a bit louder on my S25 Ultra. I also like the bass preset, so the heavy preset on the Sony better than the bass preset on the JBL. Now again, all of this is like, if you own one or the other, I don't think you can complain that you've got like significantly worse sounding headphones. But if I just put them side by side, for me, the Sony is winning almost every time. Soundstage wise, I don't think the difference is significant enough to call out anything. But you know, as the graph shows, they are quite similarly tuned with some differences in the treble mainly, and a bit more presence in the bass. Back to us in the studio with my stash on.
But the JBL has advantages as well.
Yeah. The advantages that the JBL has as opposed to the XM6 is that little device there, the transmitter. If it's useful for you, it's worthy to consider. Then the price.
Cheaper.
If you don't take that, it's $100 difference. If you take that transmitter, it's $50 difference. So it's definitely a lot cheaper. Again, you can do audio over USB.
Lossless.
Yeah. So that's there. You've got way more extras. I mean, this guy's no slouch. We've talked about this in depth.
Extras.
It can do a ton of things.
Yeah.
This one can do even more, it feels like, because it's, I think, more usable also, right?
Yeah.
So more practical kind of extra features that you get.
Yeah.
Better Auracast support, even though these do support Auracast. We feel like JBL is going a lot harder on it. It's more integrated.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to enable a mode and switch the mode. And
this was more of like a side note.
I think, I feel like Sony wants to put the LDAC front and center,
Yeah.
put LE audio on the side with it. Yeah, so given a choice between the two, what would you pick?
Oof. Tough.
On the spot.
Damn. I think I'll go with Sony.
Sony. Yeah. This is also so near, but so
Yeah.
far. Yeah, I have the same. It's basically the build quality and the controls.
Yeah.
Things I use in everyday life. And that noise cancelling is quite annoying, I must say. Yeah. All right. So, ironically, both the companies did send out the products to us, but as you know, we don't pull any punches. So, thanks to you guys for your support and these wonderful tested tier supporters on YouTube and Patreon. Check out the links below if you want to support the channel so you don't depend on sponsor money.
And a special thanks goes out to our highest tier, which is the Fuckman tier. Thank you, Jay, Paula, Rachel, and Radspanda.
Thank you very much. You've been taking a flagship tour.
And we've been DHRME.
Oui.